Welcome to the Craft of Coaching podcast, where we dive into what it truly takes to become a skilled, confident life coach. I'm your host, Kate, head of the CLCC, or Certified Life Coach Collective, an ICF-Accredited Level 1 coach training program. We combine courage, coaching, and community to offer you more than just a training program, but a life-changing experience where you use your own personal transformation as the learning ground for supporting your clients. On this podcast, we explore how you can use coaching skills to support your clients or expand your own growth, all grounded in evidence-based coaching practices. Learn more about our program and get free resources for becoming a life coach at teamclcc.com. And now, here's today's episode. All right, today I'm bringing something a little bit different to the Craft of Coaching podcast, and it is a guest interview. Now, Craft of Coaching podcast, in case anybody's wondering, how do I choose people for the guest interviews? And we actually have a guest policy, which is that nobody is ever interviewed for the Craft of Coaching podcast unless they are someone that I have actually worked with in some capacity in CLCC or have known for a very long time as a coaching colleague. So I say that because I would want all of you to know that Andrea Owen is somebody I've known for, I think, going on 8 or 9 years now. She is an absolute delight. We've been in more than one mastermind together. It's been so amazing to watch the trajectory of her career. And I really hope that people check out what she's up to, including her forthcoming book, which is Make Some Noise, Speak Your Mind, and Own Your Strength. Andrea can be found at andreaowen.com. She's also the author of How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. Great title, right? And she has also written the book 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life. So she is a certified professional coactive coach. She has her PCC with the ICF. She's been a certified Daring Way facilitator. She's got all kinds of things going on that are really great. And in this episode in particular, we are getting into how people can start doing certain things that do or don't help them. And we also get into a conversation in general about the coaching industry, particularly the coaching industry as it dovetails, intersects, butts up against, I'm not even sure, smooshes together with white feminism. And if you have heard the term white feminism and you're kind of going, what is that exactly? Andrea offers her definition. I would say that my own definition of white feminism, in essence, is any kind of, I think of it as like Spice Girls empowerment. It's the empowerment that's about like, let's just love one another, but it's about feminism that really only props up people who already have a lot of access and privilege and does not take time to look at feminist principles as they might apply to people who really need more support and really need systemic change. And of course, this is a podcast episode, and there are entire books and courses and tomes that are written on the topics of intersectionality, anti-oppression work, anti-racist work, feminism, and the rest. So this podcast is not going to encapsulate everything that could possibly be said on the subject, but I do think that it's really helpful for everybody in the coaching industry to be aware when we talk about wanting to help other people, are we only, without thinking about it, referring to whomever we happen to look like or whatever groups we happen to have grown up with or whatever groups we happen to be most comfortable with? And by we, I'm asking all of us, regardless of your background, to look at that, to ask yourself those questions of who am I actually saying I want to help, and how am I setting up my business in such a way that I actually can do good, not just for the people who are able to afford to work with me one-on-one, but there's some way that my business gives something back larger to others, to the world, to a community. What are the things that my business is about that are beyond just this one client who actually has the means to help me? So it's a wide-ranging conversation. I'm excited for you to be able to listen in, and here we go. Andrea Owen on the Craft of Coaching podcast. All right. Super excited to get to chat with one of my friends and a coach who has been a huge part of so many people's journeys to really getting their shit together. In fact, she's got a couple of books out by that name. The wonderful Andrea Owen. Yay!
Hey,
Applause. Insert
courageous. I'm so
applause.
happy to be here.
And so you've got your new book coming out, Make Some
Mhm.
Noise. And there's all in the book, chapters are divided into, I think, really practical, actionable advice. Shit to start doing, shit to stop doing.
If
And
nothing else, I am
so
direct. Yeah.
very direct. And in talking with coaches and the Craft of Coaching podcast, one of the things that I think all coaches should be doing, and I know you and I are aligned on that, on this, is self education. Like this idea that
Mhm.
we're not going into the coaching space going, I'm your guru and
Right.
you just
No.
need to do it like me. But it's like, okay, you, Andrea Owen, you have strengths. You also have weaknesses. I, Kate, I have strengths. I also have weaknesses. And it's just a continuous evolving process to look at the shit we need to start doing and the shit we need to stop doing.
Mhm.
So I thought that I would start by asking you, because I know you've mentored a number of coaches, of all the things that you wrote about to start doing, stop doing, things like that, where do you see most coaches get really, really tripped up when they are first getting out there as a new or emerging coach?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there's several things that pop up for me, but when I think specifically about women, I think about the first couple of chapters that I wrote, and there was a reason that they were the first couple of chapters that I wrote, because I know that a lot of people only read the first couple of chapters of a self-help book, but that is about taking up space and shining too bright. More specifically, the second one in shining too bright, I think that many of us, many people, specifically women, have a fear of not only shining bright and being visible and getting attention and putting our stuff out there, asking for the sale, but also outshining others is a huge fear. I don't want to be more successful as my sister, as my best friend, making more money than my parents. Like those types of fears, super common.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I can imagine like a coach cohort that graduates together. And I
Right.
think I've seen it before in CLCC, and it being kind of like the comparisons can start of, well, they got their podcast out there before I did, or they started
Mhm.
taking on more one-on-one clients before I did. And then the coach who maybe has peers notice that those things about where they're at in their process, starting to feel like they're shining too bright or they shouldn't be taking up so much space.
Exactly. It's sort of this like you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. And I don't mean that as like, yeah, that's just how it is. But I think that the thinking process is that's how it is. And so this book and all my books are really about self-awareness. Again, if the biggest part of it is self-awareness. So if you're doing that, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you know, doing all the things and checking off all the boxes, and it just really depends on your personality. Some people are super ambitious and they take action very quickly. Some people are slower and more methodical. Neither is right or better. Neither is right or better. It's about figuring out how you work best and what your tendencies are.
Absolutely. And I can see some connections there too to introversion and extroversion, and how
Mhm.
often our culture rewards extroversion, even though someone who has a more introverted process or a slower process might be doing work that is just as valuable and just as meaningful.
100%. I love introverts so much. I'm married to one, so and I one of my children is one too, and I myself I'm an extrovert, and neither is good or bad. I think that I know of so many amazing introvert coaches who have thriving coaching businesses, and again, it's leaning on their own strengths and figuring out what works best for them, who their ideal client is, all the things that you teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I want to pivot this just a little bit into visibility on social media, like taking up some damn space. When a coach is first starting to market themselves, I notice that this is a place where people really struggle. What do I
Mhm.
say on social media? What if I say the wrong thing? What do I do if I say something that's totally innocuous, but then I get troll hater people coming along, mansplainers, that's another one that
Right.
comes up, things like that. What are some things that you would invite a coach in that kind of a position to start thinking about, shifting questions you might ask them?
One of the best pieces of advice that I got from a mentor of mine is when I told her that I was worried about disappointing people. I was worried about disappointing my community. And she looked me straight in the face and she said, "You will disappoint them.
Mm.
There will be someone who's going to be disappointed. There might be multiple people who are going to be disappointed. And that does not mean that you should be quiet. You should censor yourself. You should procrastinate. You should tiptoe. Because when we do that, we're veering over into perfectionism. We're veering over into fear and I don't want to minimize it. Like it is scary. We're living in a time where a lot of social change is being demanded. People are fed up with how things have been for so long. And I also think, you and I were chatting earlier this week that our industry specifically is going through somewhat of an evolution. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's uncomfortable. And I also think it's wonderful. So, my advice is just to accept that somewhere along the way, somebody is going to take something the wrong way out of context. Someone's going to be disappointed. Someone's going to think that you were a certain way. Maybe they'll put you on a pedestal or they'll assume things about you and they're going to be wrong. And I don't say that to make people brace themselves. I say that because once you fully realize that you cannot make everyone happy and there's going to be some disappointments along the way, then it becomes somewhat easier to walk out and try things anyway. I mean, you and I both know that confidence is created via small steps and moments of courage, and that's how we gain the evidence. We have to start before we're ready. And so it's all about creating the right support system. I know I'm jumping ahead and giving more more advice here, but create the right support system. Have, whether it's the cohort that you graduated with, a peer mastermind that you have, something so someone can hold you accountable and love on you and support you.
Yeah, it's very we say in CLCC, you take yourself with you wherever you go, and we also say how's that like your life? So it's like this little microcosm of the social media post that someone might disagree with and how you respond to it. How's that like your life? How's that like when your husband or your best friend or your boss disagrees with something you've done or offers you critique? And then,
Mhm.
how do you respond? Do you spin out? Do you go into perfectionism? Do you go into people
Get
pleasing? Let me just
defensive,
fix
right?
it. Defensive.
Mhm.
Exactly. So
Well, and I think
related.
I want to add one more thing there if I will, because you made me think of something that's super important. And this is something I teach my children is just learn how to clean up your messes. Whether you spill your kombucha all over the floor or if you do say the wrong thing online and if you hurt someone unknowingly, learn how to create a proper apology, learn how to do better and learn how to make amends. I mean, it's really I don't want to say it's just that simple, but it kind of is. It's just learn how to clean things up.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, one thing your kids drink kombucha. Sorry, we can't
They
let this
don't.
moment
I
pass.
do.
Okay. All right. If you spill mom's kombucha, okay, just have to make sure.
Right.
I'm like, how do you get that to happen? Because kombucha is really good for you. I could see
It's an acquired taste. Yeah.
it is an acquired taste. True. Um, and then I'm also thinking too about how, so what is that line to you between making apologies when someone brings something to your attention that they're offended by or that they're upset by or where they think a wrong has happened, all of those buckets, and people pleasing? Because that I think is the tricky space for people
Mhm.
around visibility, the place of like, if they know that they are like, okay, I'm solid. I'm showing up. I'm doing the best I can. And oh, okay, got it. I see so clearly how like my integrity was misaligned there. It's really easy to apologize or it's easier, I should say, to apologize in those situations. Like if I step on your foot, Andrea,
Mhm.
like, and you say, hey, Kate, that was really mean of you to stomp on my foot.
Mhm.
Then we're in a little bit of a different situation where it's like you're using the word stomp and I'm going, wait, hold on. I didn't stomp on your foot. Like
Yeah.
it stepped on it and it was an accident. And that to me is the place where most people really struggle. I mean, I struggle with that place where it's like, I want to
Mhm.
take in someone's feedback and recognize that we're all different. There's some harm that could have been caused here at worst, or some offense at, on a more minor scale. And at the same time, how do we create repair without it just being this like, oh my God, I just have to apologize for everything. And then
To
I
make it
think
go away.
to make
Mhm.
it go away and also to make it authentic and not boilerplate.
Yeah. Well, like my short answer is that every situation is nuanced and it really depends. Like if it was
Mhm.
a situation where you stepped on someone's foot and they completely they had a different experience than you, that's one thing. And if you say something online that you're really proud of and most of the people are saying yay, and then there's one person that doesn't like it, that's a different situation. I think also consensus matters. So if I did step on your foot and you said that I stomped on it, and there were witnesses there that said, yeah, Andrea, I did see that you kind of stomped on it. Maybe you didn't mean to, but you were stomping. Then I would be like, okay, consensus says that that's what happened. So does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
it's hard to say one or the other, do this if this happens, do that if that happens. But I also want to point out what came up for me when you were saying that, as I started thinking about Brene Brown's work, which I'm certified in the Daring Way, and she talks about something called shame shields, and that we employ them when we are in shame. So I
Mhm.
think my advice is just to think about that. Like when someone leaves a comment on social media, or if you step on someone's foot and they're like, hey, you stepped on my foot, like we are inclined to feel ashamed. Like, oh my gosh, something happened and I'm being chastised for it. I'm being criticized for it. Many times we will either people please, we will throw something back at them. Like I could say, well, maybe your feet shouldn't be so big, and I wouldn't have
Yeah.
stepped on it. We tend to do that with people we love the most, or they run away and hide and they move away. And so that would be me. And I would never go back to social media again and delete my account, or I would never come over to your house again or any of your parties.
Mm.
So I think it's important just to notice if you're doing any of those that really at the end of the day is inauthentic to who you are.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I can see so many fear based patterns that really require courage to investigate and go, well, what's actually going on here? What's
Right.
really happening here? And that requires, slowing down a bit and breathing and not being reactionary.
Also taking some moments, like don't do any knee jerk reactions. That's also helpful too. Like take a breath.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, I wanted to make sure that we brought this into the conversation because, as you pointed out, our industry is going through an evolution. I think of it
Mhm.
as, I don't know that I see the evolving yet. So I might be a little more
I
pessimistic
certainly
just
hope
at
so.
this moment. I see like this like necessary reckoning happening where things are
Yep.
being evaluated. And one thing that I know people who are progressive and socially conscious who are entering the coaching arena are wanting to look at is, how do I really make sure that I'm doing my own work around being inclusive, around applying an intersectional lens to the coaching that I provide, and to my marketing and to my values, and
Mhm.
you and I have had some conversations before about what is termed white feminism, white women's feminism. Would you define that?
Yeah, I think the first time I heard about it, the term I should say, was from Rachel Cargill, and I believe it was her who posted on Instagram. around the time of the 2017 Women's March. And she posted a picture of someone holding up a sign at the Women's March that said, "Are all you nice white ladies going to be at the Black Lives Matter March next week?" And I was struck by that because I thought to myself, me personally, no. And that's the problem. That's a problem that I think I need to look at, as to clearly this was a question from women, from Black women who were curious. Are all you nice like white ladies that obviously care about feminism and women's empowerment and equality, are you going to stand up for this group of people too? So it really, and I had been thinking about it over even the last couple of years before that, and really trying to get quiet and figure out what this is. And I took a workshop by Rachel Cargle called Unpacking White Feminism, learned a lot about many historical figures, white women historical figures that we look up to, who are actually, excuse me, who are actually racist, and just the racist history that we have as a nation. You know, you and I are here in the States. And also reading the book, and I say this because I want to point to women who are so much more qualified to teach this than you or I. And I really just want to use this as an introduction for people to around the topic. Mickey Kendall has an amazing book called Hood Feminism. There's another book, and sorry that I'm going to look for this for just a second. Dang it. I cannot remember the name of it, but I think her name is Koa Beck. I will know the name of the book in just a second here before we jump off. But it's really about, I think that feminism has mostly helped and lifted up white women so that we can be closer to white men, so that we can have more resources and just can get ahead. And that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. And I think I'll just end by saying I'm inviting everyone in to even just Google the term, what is white feminism? Read the books that we recommend. And I think we have to, if we are going to have Black and brown women that are our clients, we absolutely have to.
Yeah. Two books that I frequently recommend to people are So You Want to Talk About Race by Aluo, Luo. A book that we include in our curriculum in CLCC is The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor.
She's fantastic.
Yes, there's some really great work that's out there. And I often think that the easiest example to point to, if you want to kind of explain in shorthand what white feminism looks like, would be Spice Girls. It's all this talk about empowerment, but empowerment for whom? Because like empowerment for migrant workers who basically have no rights, empowerment for people who are working in organizations where women's voices are discounted, or where there is zero representation of anybody who comes from a minority group. And then when leaders are asked about, well, why is that? It's like, well, it's trouble attracting top talent. Like there's no Black person in the entire world who would be qualified to work for that organization. And so, if we take this definition, and the reason I asked you, to give some context and start defining it as a start, if we take this to then this visibility question, I thought it would be interesting to connect the two as we're talking today, because as coaches are getting out there and making themselves more visible, the question becomes, how can we do that from a place of integrity, a place of not just empowering the clients who can afford to work with us, but having some kind of connection to a more collective empowerment. And I'm curious about your thoughts on how coaches can use their businesses as a force for good in that way.
Yeah, I think just also immersing themselves in, those topics that you just talked about migrant workers, and, the fact that Indigenous women are disappearing at alarming rates. And the name of that book that I was thinking of is called White Feminism. So
Okay.
that was easy.
Easy. Yeah.
By Koa Beck. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her first name right. It's Koa. And how that's a really great question. I think first and foremost, educating yourself on all of those topics. Like, who are these marginalized and oppressed groups that you might not know about, because they might not be in your circle of friends or acquaintances even. And then also, I think that once you start to do that, the ball will start rolling and you'll know what it is that is important to you to do. So whether you do pro bono coaching, whether you donate to causes that matter to you, whether you talk to your own clients about it, some kind of community activism that is meaningful for you, and that, again, just sort of exposes you to more and different realities than what's in your immediate circle.
Yeah. So we did a CLCC, diversity, equity, and inclusion panel recently, and Dia Draper, who is one of our grads and also does DEI work at a university level, was asking us to consider the question, who's not in the room? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I think of that as a question that we can all ask ourselves with our businesses. Like, there's so much of who is my ideal client? Who are the people who actually show up and pay me? And then going, well, who's not in the room and why are they not in the room? And
Right.
what are the things that I can do through my business to provide an affordability kind of option if that's the resource block? Something that if I can't directly work with the people who are not in the room in some way, is there some way that I can donate to causes that really help them, advance them? And particularly, just adding to that, not doing that from a place of pity, because I think that's another place where white feminism really kicks in, of like this kind, like
Yeah.
this, like, I'm going to be like love and light up here. And I'm just so sorry for those people who just like, they have such a lacking scarcity mindset that they can't elevate their lives. And it
Mm-hmm.
just becomes very like, well, hold on a minute.
Well,
There's a lot
it's
of
white
reasons why.
exceptionalism. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
And it's that feeling that, well, and don't do it because you think it's going to make you look like a good white person, which,
Yeah.
let me also say that I learned a lot from Lisa Renee Hall, and she has clarified. She made a video, and then I had the privilege of asking her personally, 'cause she was on my podcast. I said, let me make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. So a lot of times for white people, it's both performative and being an ally / accomplice / activist, correct? And she said, yes, most of the time it's both. And she's like, just go do both. Yes, you're helping and you're educating and you're calling in and doing all these things that are helpful, and it's performative. So it's not one thing or another. It's not black or white. Again, it's nuanced. But I also encourage people to Google the word white exceptionalism, and that is when we think that we are superior, we think that we are exceptional, and also that we think we're exempt from any kind of bias, which just isn't true. Like, we all have it. We all have this internalized stuff. I mean, heck, we can talk about internalized misogyny if you want to. I wrote about that in my book, but yes, I love what you said. Be careful that, like, for the reasons that you're doing it.
Yeah. And I think that to just like sort of pull this full circle, being authentic and vulnerable and brave and all the things that you encourage for people to start making some noise, it is going to require some courage and transparency around like, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. Like, I'm going to make
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. Like, this is how it goes to be an evolving, learning human being and coach and person who's running a business and mother and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. All of those things.
All right. Well, you've given us some great things to start looking at, and just to give everybody an idea of some of the self-coaching work that they could be doing through Andrea's book. There are chapters titled Start Getting Your Money Shit Together. Good thing to do if you're going to be getting into entrepreneurship. Stop pointing the middle finger at your parents. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like
It's about blame. Mm-hmm.
yep, like they raised you, but now it's your life and
Yep.
not theirs. Stop waiting for confidence to smack you in the face. So there are some absolutely salient, vibrant, very fully alive coaching topics that people can embark on there. And would imagine that this would also be a great book for coaches to use with their clients as well as a supplement. So
yeah, 100%. I ask over 250 questions in the book. I just, the quintessential coach in me. And there's a free workbook too that people can download. AndreaOwen.com/noise, I think it is. You think I would know this. It's either Noise or MSN. One of them is the book page and one of them is all the fun bonuses. So either one of those pages will take you to the free workbook.
All right. Well, we'll get it all in there. And Andrea, thank you so much for taking some time to stop by today and helping all of us to make some damn noise. Come on.
Thank you, Kate. I am just honored to be here and talk to your people.
All right. Thanks. All right. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, would you help us out and take a moment to give us a rating in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening? It really helps us get the word out to other listeners. And before you go today, would you like free resources to support your coaching journey? Whether you're considering becoming a coach or you want advanced coach skills training, access our coaching resource library at teamclcc.com. Again, that's teamclcc.com. Can't wait to connect with you. And again, thanks for listening.